Good evening. Welcome to Special Populations Committee meeting it's August 27th. And tonight we are doing a very special Populations Committee meeting as we've changed the format some so that we can spend some time answering community members' questions and discussing how the new virtual learning plan is going to be affecting our special education and special population students. I'd like to start by welcoming everyone and asking board members first, and then the rest of the colleagues to introduce themselves. I'm gonna start with Ms. Silvestri.
Good evening, I'm Carla Silvestre, school board member.
Dr. Daka.
Good evening, Judy Daka. Good evening, Judy Daka, school board member.
Mr. Lowndes, if you want to go ahead and introduce your folks, that would be fine too. And then I will approve the agenda and the informational summary.
First, I'll have Dr. Wilson introduce herself.
Okay.
Hi, good evening. It's certainly nice to be here this evening on this very important topic. I'm Janet Wilson, the Chief of Teaching, Learning in Schools. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Kevin Lowndes, Associate Superintendent, Special Education, Office of Teaching, Learning in Schools. And Rebecca, I don't know if you want me to go around and introduce everyone now, or when they come up, all the folks will be speaking and they'll introduce themselves when they talk about the programs they oversee.
Okay. Well, if you think that's better, that's fine with me.
Okay.
Okay. So tonight we are going to listen to a presentation on what MCPS is doing for children in special education in the fall recovery plan, as I mentioned, and then hold a question and answer session using questions that have been submitted throughout the week by community members and teachers and families. Please note that we are not accepting live questions, but if at the end of this meeting you still have questions, I do strongly encourage you to reach out to staff. I'm going to start the meeting with approving the informational summary, from the last meeting and the agenda. Can I get a motion for approving the informational summary?
So moved for the informational summary, Judy.
And Carla, I believe you. Okay, thank you. And then we'll do the agenda. Dr. Daka?
Oh, we moved the agenda?
I think we do. I think we normally do.
Okay.
Okay. All in favor of the agenda and the and informational summaries? Say aye.
Aye.
Show of hands. Thank you. Okay. I don't know if it's Dr. Wilson or Mr. Lowndes. You want to go ahead and kick things off for us?
Thank you, Mrs. Smodrowski. As I said, we're certainly honored to be here this evening to talk about our plans for our special education population in the start of the school year, which is Monday, in a first ever virtual approach to education. And I know that many of you may have tuned in to the information that the governor and Superintendent Salmon addressed moments ago, and I want to assure everyone that MCPS has been thinking about our special populations throughout this.
As the member of provincial parliament for Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, and Rideau Lakes.
Someone's got their
mic on.
Background on. Thank you.
Yes, and we'll begin the year virtually, but we have been planning and thinking about the most vulnerable populations, and among them, of course, is our special education discrete programs. And we will be continuing to have those discussions with the board in the next few meetings. And certainly, we know that there'll be more information that will be coming to us as a result of today's press conference. So with that further ado, I want to turn this over to Kevin, and in advance, thank him and his team for all the work that they have done to prepare for a very successful start on Monday. I am 100% convinced of that based on all the planning that I have seen. And as we have said, as the board has said, there is no perfect plan. And we know that we want to continue to hear feedback from our families and our stakeholders as we go. And special education is certainly part of that needed feedback. So Kevin, to you, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson, and thank you to the board for allowing us to have this opportunity tonight to update our community about all of the work that we've been doing in the spring and this summer to get prepared for school on Monday. I know we're all very excited to be welcoming our students back, and we have a lot of great ideas and processes and technology to put into place to make sure that our school year starts off very successful. We're going to take this this evening to explain what we've done to make our distance learning different than it was in the spring, and how we're going to be supporting families and students and making sure that they all get a great educational experience. There's a few things I want all parents to understand going into the school year on Monday. We've been getting many questions about the IEP process and the IEP, the Individualized Education Plan, and when can they expect to hear from schools as to what the goals are for the school year and how they'll be implemented. One thing that we did learn in the spring is when we went and started contacting families, we learned quickly that the conversations were taking much longer than we had anticipated. And so we had to adjust our plan in the spring to allow for longer conversations with our families. And so knowing that it's going to happen again in the fall, what we've done is we've drafted an individualized learning plan template for our schools to help them look at the IEP plan. Because of the new schedules that are going to take place this fall, we're going to see more of our IEP goals and objectives being able to be worked on and implemented in the fall. And so we're going to ask that our case managers get a letter out to our families within the first 2 weeks of schools, outlining the goals and the objectives that they're going to be working on this school year. And then within the first month, we're going to expect them to then give a phone call to our families and discuss in person how it's going to be implemented and what it will look like, and when during the school day they can expect these services to be provided. So families will be getting a letter within the first 2 weeks, and then it gives us a little bit more time to have great discussions with the families about the services that will be provided during the school day. The other thing I want to talk and highlight is that we have updated the technology. We are getting laptops for all of our teachers and our service providers, but I guess we're not the only district doing so. There appears to be a run on laptops, and so it's going to take a little while for these laptops to come in. And I just hope that our parents and our community and our teachers can understand that we're doing the best that we can in order to get them in here. But it's going to probably take another 3 to 4 weeks before everyone has their laptop. Assessments. So many of our assessments that we use for educational assessments and psychological assessments do require in-person testing with a student and an adult. And so what we're doing at this time is we are talking to our schools and giving them guidance as to how to use informal assessments to determine whether the goals and the objectives are appropriate and whether we're making progress towards them, and whether a student should continue receiving special education services. I do want everyone to understand that we are not looking to take away special education services during this time period, and that we will always err on the side of caution, and students will continue receiving their special education services, because it really takes a formalized test in order to determine whether the student still needs the services or not. So I know there's a lot of anxiety out there about, maybe getting your services taken away, but we are not looking to take any special education services away in this distance learning format. The other thing I want to highlight is that there's been a tremendous amount of professional development created this summer by our special education offices, both for our teachers and for our families. And you're going to hear tonight from the different supervisors about the professional development help and support that families can expect to receive from the supervisors and the programs. And I think you'll be very impressed with the amount of work and effort that our supervisors, our instructional specialists, and all of our folks in the special education offices have done to prepare for the school year. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Philip Lynch, Director, and have him talk a little bit about what the IEP process is going to look like.
Good evening, folks. Kevin gave a great intro into our thinking as we enter into the fall, and so there is a change in our approach to the fall, given the fact that we are changing our approach to instructional schedules in general. We hope that these schedules will provide us with additional access to students to provide the services that Kevin referenced. The primary shift in thinking moving into the fall is really around the way in which we're documenting the services for special education students. We tried not to change the process too much in terms of the logistical process for special education teachers. We know how much work they have to do and have to get ready for in order to be prepared for the instructional component of their day. We wanted to try to keep the processes as similar from the spring as we had in the fall. But that said, there is some significant shift in thinking in terms of the services. One of the primary shift is that we are asking special education teachers and case managers and related service providers to really approach the individualized distance learning plan from the aspect of the IEP. The IEP is still in effect, and we are asking them to implement the IEP to the greatest extent possible. That said, we have shifted the documentation on the distance learning plan to really really reflect what cannot be or what would be revised in terms of the delivery of services from the IEP. So, for example, if there needs to be a shift in the way in which some of the accommodations are delivered, we are asking them to document the way in which the accommodations would be delivered in the virtual or distance learning format. If there's a shift in some of the way in which the supplementary aids and services are delivered, and we're asking them to document that. One thing that we are stating fairly strongly with our staff is that if there's a service that is represented on the IEP, if that's a service that's provided in the classroom setting or in the special education setting, or it's a related service or adaptive PE, we are providing guidance that makes it clear that all of the services need to be represented on the distance learning plan. And the reason why I emphasize the word represented is because we are acknowledging the fact that we are in a different mode of learning here than we were when the IEP was written. Ms. Mondrowski asked a great question in one of the earlier board meetings on August 6th, and my response was really to acknowledge that we are in a different mode of delivering services as long as we are doing it from this distance format. And therefore, the document that was written when students were in school may need to be revised or modified. And so we're really asking those case managers and special education teachers and related service providers to look at how that service that is currently listed on the IEP needs to be modified or revised, document that on the distance learning plan, and make sure that that plan, which is essentially a one-page document summary of any of the modifications or changes, along with a summary of the services, all the services that will be provided, including the related services, is listed there in a summary format for parents to easily be able to review and reference as they have those conversations with parents that or with their case managers, as Kevin referenced. So that's one of the primary shifts. Kevin did mention that we are asking folks to communicate via writing at first with that letter, and then if there needs to be changes to the distance learning plan from the services that were listed in the spring, and we expect that there would be in many cases, in most cases, because of the change in the overall instructional schedule, then we are asking case managers to follow up with those changes and communicate with parents through typically it's going to be through a phone conference in this setting. So that's the vehicle by which we're communicating the services that students will be provided. I can't emphasize enough that we're starting with the IEP, and we're documenting the way in which that needs to be revised or modified. and that our goal is to try to implement the IEP to its fullest extent, and that all the services should be represented in some way, shape, or form. I keep emphasizing that term because I've already received some feedback where folks are saying the IEP is going to be implemented to its fullest extent, and those are sometimes challenging words given that we're in a different setting, in a different environment, and there may need to be some revisions and modifications that have to be clarified and discussed with parents. But we are asking that we work to implement that IEP to its fullest as much as possible. So if we could go to the next slide, that would be great. The next thing I want to talk to you, and this may look like a little bit of a review from that earlier August session that we had on the 6th, where I reviewed the scheduling recommendations that were provided to schools for students with significant cognitive disabilities. These are students who are often receiving service in smaller classroom settings, classes that can look like they are between 6 and 12 students. These are students that require additional staff often in those settings, so they may have paraeducator support that are supporting the special education teacher in those settings. We had some lessons learned during our spring sessions, and we also had some great lessons that we learned that were positive takeaways from our extended school year, our summer services that were provided in the summer. And so in our recovery group that had a number of stakeholders, teachers, central office staff members, administrators, they gave us feedback on the development of this schedule. I listed here some of the four of the primary takeaways that we tried to implement in our recommendations to schools who are providing the service. One was that we recognized that there was a benefit to the whole class getting together, seeing each other in the morning and in the afternoon. The reason why we were adamant about including the afternoon session as well as we recognized that some students were having difficulty accessing the computer or instruction at some part of the day, but it didn't look the same for all students. Some students were accessing in the AM, some students were accessing on a regular basis more in the PM. And so we want to make sure that there's an opportunity each day for students to meet with their whole class group. We also recognized that there was a need for transitions, so we built in some breaks between the instructional blocks. And we alternated the ELA or the English Language Arts block along with the math block so that, again, those students who were accessing instruction for whatever reason, maybe it was a medical reason or maybe it was just an issue that had to do with scheduling with family matters, we made sure that we were alternating those academic blocks so that if a student is accessing instruction primarily during one portion of the day, that they're still getting the breadth of the instructional content by having access to ELA and to math on a regular basis. And lastly, we made sure that all the academics and the specials were represented in some way, shape, or form. I'm going to show you this schedule, so if we could put up that link, if that works, that would be great. And I'm just going to highlight a couple of the things that I talked about just to give you a quick visual so that folks can see. So at the top here, you see the purple and the gray. Those are alternating morning meeting and small group instructional sessions. That represents that whole classroom time that I referenced earlier. And you would see at the bottom of the sheet that same representation in the afternoon. If it's possible to scroll down a little bit, you can see that the academic blocks, again, are rotated between the blue and the green. You see in those morning sessions, there is ELA in the blue, and then in the green, there is the math block. And you can see the breaks built in there as well. You also see represented the what would take place during the half-day session there in yellow. And we included a list of guidance around what might take place in there. This schedule, I will say, is meant to be an overlay on what the whole school is doing. It is not meant to be a schedule within a schedule, so that buildings are not running separate schedules for in terms of the timing of their day for different students. It's meant to be an overlay that can match, so the lunch period would match the same lunch period with the rest of the school. You can see that in the afternoon, again, we have the small group sessions that come back together. So those are some of the key components. I'll just make one last comment about this in terms of some questions that we've gotten. Some teachers or folks have asked about the extended period of those academic blocks and are worried about how long those blocks are. If you take a closer look at those academic blocks, you'll see that they really represent a small a portion of the time for whole group instruction, academic instruction. So it looks like if you see in that green, let's just look at the math lesson there. It's a 15 to 20 minute lesson. And then it provides an opportunity for the use of those staff that are in that classroom to meet with students, to break out and meet with students in small group or individually so that they can work on those IEP goals and objectives in a different setting, as opposed to asking students to be attentive to that long period of time. So I understand it's a little bit, it can be a little bit intimidating when you see 75 minutes or 90 minutes. It looks like it's a long, intensive block period of time, but the reality is it's a smaller instructional time where they're receiving the whole lesson, and then it's a more individualized work with those students. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Mondrowski, do you want to ask questions as we go along, or do you want to hear the presentation first from everybody and then ask questions?
Well, I think that's a good idea if we could just break quickly. Let me check in with my colleagues and see if they have any questions. I know I have a question about the distance learning plan form and things like that, but go ahead. Ms. Silvestre or Dr. Daca?
Not at this time.
Mr. Lowndes, did you say that the assessments were going to be done in person?
So as of right now, we're not doing them in person. We're doing the assessments that we can in a distance learning format, but we are working with ESSE and the health department and everyone to figure out a way to have maybe 3 areas where we could bring some people, students in on an appointment basis. So we are working on that. And we hope to get something where we can bring students and do some assessments in person.
Great, thank you.
So thank you, Mr. Lynch. I appreciate you showing the example of the schedule and explaining how that would be incorporated into the regular school day. But I have that, and then this is a copy of the distance learning plan I believe you were discussing. Roughly an example of one, or no?
I'm having trouble seeing that, but I'm not sure if that's one that is from our recent guidance, but I can describe the plan. Essentially, it has a series of statements that are asking staff to, given that they are working to implement all of the, for example, accommodations, goals, the supplementary aids and services, and has a space for each of those, list anything that needs to be modified or changed from the IEP that they can review with the family. And then there should be a table. Do you see a table on that version that also provides an opportunity for the services to be summarized? So I'm not sure if you're referencing one from the spring or the most recent version that has gone out to staff.
Oh, I'm not sure. I was just curious. I just like it. I like the fact that it asks about what it gives the parents an opportunity, it looks like, and the staff to add in what they feel like they need to support their students in meeting their goals and things like that. And so I feel like, I guess the point that I was going to bring up with it is between the schedule and this and whatever, is there a place online that parents can go to look at that to get, and how are they being provided this for them to be able to fill in to support when they do hear from their casework manager? And I think communication is just going to be really important with all of this. I know it is for most of our families, and but especially for our special population students and their families. So I'm glad to hear that we're sending out a letter within the first 2 weeks and making those phone calls. I would just encourage us to do as many of those calls as early as possible, because I know there are a lot of parents who are very anxious about how this is going to work for their students, particularly because the spring was such a different change from what they were used to.
One of the reasons we stuck with the process of using the format we did, which essentially, is instructing case managers to take a template that we gave them and to paste it into an existing form that we use called, it's the prior written notice form, which is a portion of the IEP, but it's a standalone portion of the IEP that's a separate form. We know that when we're asking folks to make revisions to the IEP, the document as a whole, there are some logistical steps that are cumbersome there, and so we used the prior written notice form, and we're saying to them, put this document into the prior written notice form, and then they can email that document as an attachment to parents, or they can communicate it to parents verbally and mail it home if parents do not have access to email. But it would be something that could be sent home easily as an email attachment that parents could review as they have that conference that we're referencing when changes are going to be made to that document.
Okay, I appreciate that. I think I'll hold off on some of my other questions to see if it comes out in the presentation. So I will let you go ahead and continue.
Great, thank you. So I'm going to I'll try to do two folks at a time, and then leave time for questions for those two, and then we'll move on. So the next two folks that I would like to introduce are Amy Kropp. She's a director, and she's oversees our pre-K program, our pre-kindergarten programs. And she's also going to talk a little bit about the Child Find. And then after Amy complete, I'm going to have Mr. Bill McGrath, our supervisor of Physical Disabilities program, talk about the technology that was bought to prepare for accessibility and to help our students and our parents access the curriculum and the learning in the fall. So Amy, and then Bill.
Sure. Thank you. Good evening. I'm Amy Kropp. I'm the Director of Pre-K Special Programs and Related Services. So I will talk a little bit about what Pre-K is going to look like and what Child Find will continue to look like, and then our other supervisors can talk about sort of program-specific plans. So as Ms. Mendrowski said, communication is key. Beginning next week, our teachers and parent educators in Pre-K will be contacting their students and their families to introduce themselves if they haven't already, and also schedule individual virtual home visits. So that's what will take place over the next 2 weeks, an individual televisit through Zoom with each family to sort of get to know you. It's what we usually do in person the first couple weeks of pre-K. Classes haven't started yet, a time to get you to know your child and their parent on their own home turf. I wanted to mention the pre-K daily schedule. Mr. Lynch talked about the schedule for older students. The pre-K daily schedule is also aligned with that elementary schedule, the 9 to 3:15 time. Our full day pre-K classes will run 9 to 3:15, and that 4.5 day live instruction, and the Wednesday afternoon asynchronous day. Our half day pre-K programs, when we have many of them, will run 2 hours and 15 minutes in the morning and another 2 hours and 15 minutes in the afternoon for the students sectioned into either the AM class or the PM class. So the teachers will have the morning class, they will leave, they'll have time in the middle of the day, and then the afternoon class will come on for 2 hours and 15 minutes in the afternoon. We have the great advantage of having a paraeducator in each of our class, at least one paraeducator. So we're going to be using these paraeducators to do breakouts into smaller groups. Even a class of 12 or 13 when you're preschoolers, when you're 3 and 4, broken up into a group of 3, 4, and 5 is a really sort of very manageable group to work on the math skills, the literacy, social studies, science curriculum, kind of like when we're in buildings and we do centers. Small groups of students rotate table to table with an adult, a paraeducator, or a teacher, and that will happen through Zoom breakouts. I mentioned the curriculum are just like elementary. Our pre-K students will be learning the new Eureka math curriculum. All of our teachers and most of our paraeducators have also been trained in the pre-K Eureka math curriculum for the fall. We included the paraeducators in the training. We think it's critical for pre-K to include the paras and to give them the same skills their teachers have, because they are doing the work. When you're a 3 or 4 or 5-year-old, your paraeducator is one of the most critical people you know. So the paraeducators will have the skills to work with their teachers in the breakouts. Pre-K students, Pre-K Child Find is we continue to see children ages 3 to 5 who are referred by their parents for screening and evaluation when they suspect a delay. Parents first have a long conversation with an instructional specialist, talking about typical development, guiding them through beginning to help them navigate this process of screening and evaluation. The key here is that distance learning, virtual learning, is not stopping us from identifying students as their needs arise and as their parents refer them with concerns. There's nothing about distance or virtual learning that's preventing us from doing good screening, evaluations, which many times is really extensive, parent interviews, interactions over Zoom, talking about students' communication styles. There's nothing that's preventing us from moving forward with the eligibility decisions and IEP team meetings, and we're having students start whenever they're identified or whenever they're turning 3 and transitioning from infants and toddlers. We're having students roll in and start all year long, just like we do in brick and mortar. So eligibility services recommendations start, and our teachers and parent educators are used to really this rolling in kind of evolution of new students all the time, and that will happen virtually. We learned some students started with us during ESY, and that works out just fine. So I will pass it on now. Oh, and I wanted to mention also that all of our students have the new Chromebooks. We've pre-K to 5. All of our elementary schools are pre-K to 2 or pre-K to grade 5, and all students in elementary school, whether they're 3 or up through grade 5, will have their new Chromebooks and have been picking those up. And as new students enroll, they'll be getting their new touchscreen Chromebook too. So I want to emphasize that pre-K students are included. When we say elementary, we really mean pre-K to grade 5.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. Board members, did you have any questions on that section before we go on?
No questions.
Okay.
Now we're going to hear from Bill McGrath.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin. So I'm Bill McGrath, and I supervise physical disabilities programs, and that includes occupational therapy, physical therapy, and then assistive technology. So the first big element that we've been working on is our assistive technology teams have been working across all our offices with our external vendors, and certainly in tight coordination with everyone within special ed to make sure that we continue to ensure our curriculum materials and content is accessible when it's designed, and then when it's delivered as well. A key element that we recognized needed to be in place as we go into this semester is that our assistive technology that oftentimes is shared among students within a physical classroom, we wanted to make sure that we had those in place for students to utilize at home. And certainly the biggest group that we were most concerned about was our students with more significant support needs. And so this has included a number of additional subscriptions and expansion of existing subscriptions that work in the Chrome environment to support adapted reading, writing, and math participation. But also, other elements that allow more accessible checks for understanding that can integrate with switch activated programs, and also, expansion of the touchscreen Chromebooks that were purchased for elementary for all of our discrete programs in secondary school that support students pursuing alternative learning outcomes. So the range of materials are kind of matched to different program needs. And then in addition, there is the expectation that as schools are receiving these materials, that there will be some matching to individual student needs. So a lot of the enhancements are currently in place, especially the subscriptions. Some of the hardware and other equipment, as Mr. Lowndes was describing, this has been a difficult summer for sourcing a lot of this equipment. But I think right now we feel like we have everything lined up. Things are being delivered right now to schools and will continue to be over the next week. Schools will be making arrangements with their families, especially at the secondary level, to be able to come and get this additional assistive technology to use at home. And then, we're doing a good amount of training that's already happened, integrated into some of the curriculum training and other special education training, to make teachers aware of how they can use this new assistive technology, both the subscriptions and resources in the Chrome environment, but also some of the equipment that's going home to some of our discrete programs, such as Learning for Independence or Stephen Knowles and Longview. As we go through this month, we're going to continue to do training to our teachers on this and offer training to our families as well. But central to how we want this to be supported is that our teams feel supported in a way that they effectively support their parents in implementing this at home. So we're very excited to see some new opportunities that this opens up for our families and our teachers in making distance learning more meaningful for students with more significant disabilities especially. The other big functions of our department are occupational and physical therapy. So as was mentioned earlier, the focus is really on the fullest extent possible, implementing the IEP services as they're written. So a lot of our professional learning that we've done in the past week focuses on how to both have more effective in-person synchronous televisits with students and with the support of families. A lot of the training that we've done has focused on culturally responsive parent engagement, as well as helping all the therapists understand when they have parents who aren't engaging or they're struggling to engage in the therapy process, that they understand how to work with their school teams effectively to strengthen that connection. And then another big piece that we've focused on with occupational and physical therapy is that in the course of their sessions, how can they more effectively utilize technology to make their sessions more accessible for all learners? And so for the occupational therapists, the big upgrade is effectively using some of the document cameras to present information and model skills for students effectively. And for the physical therapists, looking at different ways to use web cameras with a broader view that they can more effectively demonstrate gross motor skills. So as we go through the semester, we're really looking at both the assistive technology piece and the change in focus with OT and PT televisits and the resources that are in place for that to make a big difference for our kids.
Great. So thank you. Unless my colleagues have any questions on that aspect specifically, I'm going to jump in and read, I think, 2 questions from the community that we received because they specifically touch on that topic, if that's okay. Mr. Lowndes, is that all right?
No, that's a great idea.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. All right. So one of the questions from a parent is, when we are extending distance learning to the fall in the typical learning environment, I worry that my child's needs are not pointed out on as they should be on his current IEP. It will be difficult to extend that online, namely special instructional hours, occupational therapy, and speech. While all of his needs may not practically be able to be met, we worry about how we can meet them in this distance format as best as we and his team at his homeschool can. So if one of you, if you would like to address that, that would be great. And then I have one about opting out of special services.
So I'll go ahead and start and talk a little bit about what parents can expect with the new schedule and services in general and how they'll be provided throughout the day. And then I'll ask Bill to step in about the physical therapy and how the parent can expect to receive physical therapy in a distance learning format. I know that's come in quite a bit.
Speech therapy as well.
In speech. And Pam's going to talk a little bit about later today the speech therapy and how we're able to do it virtually. I don't know if you want her to answer now or whether you'd want her to wait.
You can wait. Okay. She can wait. Thanks.
And so the schedule actually provides opportunities for students to receive their special education services during the day, just as they would in brick and mortar, in that it could be that There's a co-teacher in a class that works with the student when there's in breakout sessions and make sure that the student follows along with the lesson and has an understanding of all the key points, and then works on the accommodations that are listed in the IEP. There's also time at lunch for students that receive special education services to meet with their teachers or meet with their case managers to receive the services that they need. Our related service providers will be setting up schedules with families and with schools and talk about the times and how the services that they offer, such as speech and physical therapy and occupational therapy, will be delivered during the school day. And, you know, our schools have been working very closely with us on the schedule and understand that, you know, special education services have to be provided throughout the whole instructional day, just like they are when we're in brick and mortar. And so the way the services will be provided is really dictated by the type of service the student's receiving and then the time of day that that service can be provided. And so, Bill, if you can step in a little bit and speak about what a parent can expect if they do have physical or occupational therapy on their IEP, and when can they expect the services and how would those services be delivered?
Thank you. The services will start the first week of school. Therapists will be contacting the families to let them know that they're working with their child, but also when they're working with their child and whether it's within the classroom or in a separate Zoom breakout, and they'll describe that to the family. And then obviously that'll be documented through the IDLP process that was described earlier as well. I think the two things that I think are important for families to know about service going into this semester. The first is there's a much greater emphasis on direct televisits with the student. I think we have a lot more options for things such as groupings in more creative ways than we did, and plugging into the classroom than we did in the spring. And I also think, as I mentioned earlier, we've invested a lot both in training and also in some equipment and other subscriptions and resources so that our therapists are better prepared to deliver these direct televisits that are able to engage a broader range of kids and also to effectively address their IEP goals. So I think that those two pieces to me are significant upgrades going into this semester.
Bill, if you can just explain a little bit more about when you say subscription, what you mean, because I know when you first told me that and we had this conversation, I was like, what are you talking about, Bill? Are we talking about Sports Illustrated? I mean, what are we ordering for our students? So if you can just talk a little bit about what the subscriptions look like.
Sure. So one example is for a lot of our students and also as an effective, way to support language communication across people who don't speak the same language is we purchased additional licenses of some of our tools that allow therapists to create visual supports and materials that represent concepts such as what are the expectations during this therapy session and what's the sequence of things that are going to happen. Previously, we had a limited number of those licenses. We've expanded them significantly. So now our physical therapists and occupational therapists are more easy. It's easier for them to use those. So the subscriptions are give them access to go on a website and utilize these tools to create more accessible instructional materials that are better understood by a lot more of our students with more significant needs, and then also support the structure of the session. Other subscriptions would include some software that allows students who are just emergent writers to participate in writing activities more fluently and independently, that are also able to be accessed with a switch, which is a button which allows a student to scan through a number of different options, such as words that they're going to use to compose a sentence. So both of those things are subscriptions which are web-based, they're online, and we've paid for those for the upcoming year, both new subscriptions, but also subscriptions that may be used for a small number of staff or students now have been expanded so they can be used by more students.
Just to clarify then, so those will be able to be used for both one-on-one sessions with our students and their families, and also in like some of those Zoom breakout groups or virtual rooms, they call them?
Yes, and so many of the subscriptions the student has access to throughout their entire instructional day, regardless of the environment, and then obviously outside of school hours as well, you know, if they have homework to do. And then same for the providers. They're available across all the environments.
Okay, so that brings me to the, I feel like I just asked, but just so it's very specific to the community member's question, I'm going to read the question. Will the special education teachers have their own breakout virtual rooms that the IEP children will be scheduled with during the day? And will our child have any individual time virtually with the special education teacher or primary teacher?
So, well, I could just answer for occupational and physical therapy. The answer would be yes, depending on the student needs and the goals being addressed. But that's just for OT and PTS related service, which I assume it's similar for.
And then more broadly, I can state that, you know, there are different ways to get at that that aspect of the instruction. So, you know, the formats that they're going to be, or the platforms they're going to be using would allow for teachers, if they're, for example, a co-teacher, to work with students through the breakout format. You can identify students that have the types of needs that need to be worked on in the breakout as a part of the whole group instruction. Just like many of us have been a part of breakout sessions in meetings that we've been involved in. So that's another way to get at that. Or they could be scheduling separate individualized sessions with students or small groups on a separate link after the whole group instruction is completed. As I mentioned earlier, when I went through the schedule, we have those, you know, those core blocks of instruction, and then it could look like a follow-up that's done on a separate link. So there's multiple ways to get at that. But the overall answer to the question is yes, we would expect that students have access to that small group or individualized instruction if that is what's called for on their IEP, and if that's what is, you know, is fleshed out through the distance learning plan.
I appreciate that. I do want to just comment on one thing that you just said there, though, about if that's what's on their IEP. I think one of the things that we're going to have to, you know, Dr. McKnight and Dr. Smith and everybody, all of us kept talking about how we're going to have to be flexible, and this is like an ebbing and flowing process. What might not have been on a child's IEP in terms of individualized service, we may find might need to be added if they're really struggling with the larger group instruction as we go along. So hopefully we'll be able to keep an eye on those kind of things. I had one last question from the community, and it was in reference to Riften chairs and special equipment. And will students who need those type of things be able to get them?
So I'm going to have Bill McGrath speak a little bit about that. You know, there is a plan to help families with specialized equipment and being able to pick it up and work with their school, and working with Bill and his unit to make sure that families have what they need at home in order to be successful. So Bill, if you want to talk a little bit about the plan going forward with that.
Sure. So our plan is that over the course of September, we are giving families the opportunities to work with a physical therapist, for example, to identify if there's a piece of equipment that is, you know, safe to be used in the home, appropriate to the student, where they have some history using it prior to moving to distance learning. And that the physical therapist can schedule a time for the family to come in outside of the school building, for example, to make sure that the equipment continues to fit the student, and that the family can be safely trained on it, and that the family has verified that, in fact, that they would use this equipment. And so some of the pieces of this we are still putting together. I'm very committed, and our staff are very committed to the importance of equipment like this getting home for the health and well-being of our students, and also their access to their learning. You know, I think that's something that will have a little clearer pieces. The pieces will come together with a little more clarity in the coming week or so. But we spent over pre-service week, we actually did training with the physical therapist on best practices for fitting equipment or working with equipment in a remote learning environment. So that's very, very much central to the discussion we've been working on this week.
The one thing I want folks to understand, though, is that, last week, this week, and next week, there is a huge amount of materials being distributed at schools right now with all of the curriculum, with all of the Chromebooks. And so, we're holding off. I've asked Bill's folks to hold off on starting to put out some of this equipment at schools, because it would need to be very individualized outside in a very safe way, that we're working with Essie McGuire, who's in charge of the physical plant, to make sure that we're doing it in a proper way. But, it's just at this time, it wouldn't be safe for families to come in when we already have many families coming in, picking up their curriculum and picking up their supplies and picking up their Chromebooks. So, if families do want, and there is a special piece of equipment that they need in order to help them and their child at home during the distance learning that's in the building, they really should contact their principal, who then can contact Bill McGrath, and they can work out a plan in order to get it to them.
Great. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that.
At this time, I would like to now introduce Chris Secan. She's the supervisor of our autism programs, and going to talk a little bit about what they've been doing to prepare for the new year. Chris?
Good evening. It's nice to see everybody. I want to start going forward by going backwards to ESY. ESY was really significant for many of our autism services, particularly those serving students pursuing alternate learning outcomes, because we saw such an incredible increase in engagement and participation. We had about 80% participation across our classic autism program, which is a significant shift from the continuity of learning period, and actually mimicked what we often see when we're a brick and mortar school for ESY, with families taking vacations and coming in and out. So it was significant for a lot of reasons. I think that without a doubt, it was very motivating for teachers. It was very motivating for families. And those families and teachers worked hard to build, I think, a wonderful momentum that's going to help us coming into the new year. It definitely gave us a better understanding of our work and how we need to continue to improve it. This year, as we look at our opening, we're opening elementary school classic autism programs in Christa McAuliffe, Cannon Road, and Kensington Parkwood elementary schools, in addition to adding a number of high school programs to our existing schools. We had the wonderful opportunity to showcase the work of some of our great teachers this week during the MCPS pre-service conference. We presented to 120 teachers in 2 separate sessions on best practices in virtual instruction for both alternate learning outcomes and for our diploma services. We all survived the East Coast Zoom crash, which happened in the middle of those sessions. And we got great feedback. And we were really able to showcase our colleagues, our teachers' work to their colleagues. This week also marks the beginning of our parent education series. About 20 of our teachers and autism program specialists have collaborated to create 3 different 5-week series of parent education sessions designed specifically to support the needs of our elementary and high school alternate learning outcome students, as well as our diploma students, with an emphasis on helping families and students themselves become organized and be more successful in virtual learning. We have had 4 sessions already this week. And I will tell any family members who are listening that we did have a bit of a glitch with our diploma session, but it's been resolved this afternoon, and our participation is wonderful. We will present over the next 5 weeks a total of 45 parent education sessions, which is just very exciting. The information is great. Please join us for those sessions. They're offered multiple times per week, and we've worked hard to try to accommodate everyone's schedule. Hats off to those teachers who really wanted to do this work in this very difficult pre-service week leading up to the opening of school. I know our families will benefit. We're also excited that we're going to have access to new assistive technology for distance learning. As Bill McGrath talked about, we've been able to acquire those subscriptions specific to both our alternate learning outcome students and our students pursuing diplomas. We have a program, for example, called Teach Town, which families can access beyond the school day, while teachers are using the instruction during the school day in both individual and small group sessions. Our Asperger services and our Autism resource services have a new subscription called Everyday Speech, which supports the development of social skills our students need so much and are missing out on by not really being present in brick and mortar school. We participated in the development and packaging of the alternate learning outcome toolkits, which are kits of materials that have been delivered to every school serving our students pursuing alternate learning outcomes. And they're composed of materials that our teachers and families told us would help make virtual learning more successful for students in the home. Finally, we have a collaborative initiative with Montgomery County Police Department that's designed to enhance the safety of our most vulnerable students. We have a high rate of students who may elope from home or school with little awareness of danger and little ability to identify themselves. So through a grant written by the Autism Unit staff, we have purchased 350 identification bracelets that we'll begin distributing next week to families who requested them. Teachers will work virtually with students and families to teach our students to increase tolerance to wearing the bracelets, which will provide critical information to first responders or community members who may encounter them unaccompanied. So that's just a tip of the iceberg. I'm happy to answer any questions, but I could go on all night.
Do any of my colleagues, board members, have any questions?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
Is there any way we can see, this is Judy, that we can see the new teacher training that you presented? And I have a real interest in how we're doing PEP, OT, PT, and speech. I just like, if it's not an invasion of the parents' privacy and the children's privacy, I'd like to see that. And Ms. Deacon, thank you so much for the cooperation with the police department, having been involved when a kid eloped and went down to Metro, and somebody in the community kind of figured it out after a while and called the school system, but we just had no idea how to find the student. But having identification, which indicates how they should get in touch with us, would just really help.
We have been recording both the parent and the teacher training sessions. We did miss a piece of the teacher pre-conference because of the Zoom crash, but I'm happy to send you an invitation to the ongoing parent education series and see if we can get you a link to the teacher training.
We did, we've already held our new teacher orientation, our new educator training. I can share that this year we did it a little differently, where we had separate sessions or blocks of time that were devoted to different topics. One was, technical around accessing the online IEP system, and one was really with their program or area supervisors, giving them the information they needed in order to be able to get started, knowing who to contact for support. And really helping them get up and running with an understanding about the procedures and processes. We started last year, and we're continuing this year with new teacher professional learning communities. And we decided to make our first session during pre-service week, where we pulled together the new teachers in a PLC session and really made that all about what do you need to know to get started for that first week of school? What tools do you need to get started, to get up and running? And we had tremendous participation in that session. And so that's something that I believe we recorded. And if you'd love to take a look at a snapshot of that, Dr. Daca, we'd be happy to provide that to you.
Cool. Thank you.
Was that everything, Dr. Daca?
No, I hate to ask this question, but what happens if we do not have a person in the home who can work with the student? There's a lot they have to have an adult in some of these cases.
So we are working very hard to increase both our students' capability to access instruction more independently. Pardon my dog in the background. But one of the things that we're so excited about TeachTown for the subscription I talked about earlier is that it is very, very motivating. It is very designed specifically to meet the needs and hold the interest of students with autism. We have worked on an individual basis with a lot of families on the process whereby we explicitly teach our children to sit in front of a computer and engage. Many of our other students have done a fabulous job independently, but there are those students that it has been an incremental collaboration between teachers and families.
But Dr. Daka, I also want to say that one of the things that we had that concern this summer with ESY, and that is one of the reasons why we worked with the Office of General Counsel to be able to tape some of our ESY classrooms, because Chris was really someone who was pushing for this, and her teachers were in her programs to make sure that the students that really do need the adult support could get it at any time during the day when the parents were available, or an adult was available to help and support that child. Because we do understand that some of these students that we're talking about that receive special education services do need an adult to support them at home in order to access the distance learning.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Silvestre, do you have any questions? No?
No questions.
Okay. Just to clarify, on the slide it read parent education series, the TeachTown, everyday speech, and things like that. Parents have access to that every day? Do they have access to those programs, I mean?
They will have access to TeachTown. There is a parent component to everyday speech, and we will be recording all those 45 parent education sessions, and we will be posting them. We haven't determined the best vehicle for all of that quite yet, but yes, the TeachTown is explicitly designed so that each student has a license and families can access it at any time.
Okay, thank you. And then in reference to, well, I have two questions, first of all. Can you clarify, because there have been questions from the community about, the in-person aspect of the potential for in-person supports and things. Can you clarify what discrete programs, what qualifies as a discrete program? I know we've got Bridge, we've got, the emotional differences programs. We've got all kinds of programs across the system. And is it for everybody? Is it every program? If you would have had a smaller classroom in your homeschool or in your live in-person learning, does that qualify you as a discrete program, or can you just specify that for me?
Sure. So the way we're using discrete programs here tonight is we're talking about our students that receive their education in a self-contained classroom. They're not in a general education classroom during the whole day receiving their services. And so for students that are in a class size of 6 students, 1 teacher, and 2 paraeducators, that would be what we would consider a discrete program. And so it really is a classroom where students are in with special education teacher and paraeducation teachers, paraeducators working with students receiving special education services throughout the day.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. And then Pepin, that would be coming up in the early childhood discussion, correct?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I had some questions from the community about PEP, and I'm wondering that I'm thinking I would wait for that until the early education, Child Mind Early Childhood Disabilities Unit. Yes?
Sure, we can start with that when Faith presents her presentation. I'd like to now introduce Anne-Marie Tagliaferri. She's the coordinator for our extensions program. Anne-Marie?
Hi, thanks, Kevin. Our goal this summer was really to look at instructional tools and strategies to increase our engagement and accessibility for students with intellectual disabilities and or autism on a virtual platform. And in doing so, we collaborated with a number of colleagues in the autism unit, physical disabilities unit, and others in central office. And we've introduced a number of new instructional tools to our teachers in the past couple weeks and some over the summer. Things such as Nearpod, which is a program that allows you to create different visual supports with different arrays of choices. It allows for some self-correction and other tools that our students are used to. Along with the autism program, our elementary students are also using TeachTown. We're very excited about this, especially during times of asynchronous learning, where students can be assigned specific activities to do, and they'll be able to complete them. And we know that some of those evidence-based strategies are already built into the program. We're also using different resources through Attainment, which is a curricular resources that our students are familiar with during their school year. We also have participated in the creation and distribution of these ALO toolkits. Sorry about that. And again, as Chris said, these include items that teachers and families said would be helpful to them in implementing this instruction at home. Some of the items include whiteboards, dry erase markers, sets of alphabets, different number lines, math manipulatives, etc. One of the big challenges we know our families have had is accessing community services during this time. Our social workers have spent an exhaustive amount of time helping families navigate this new normal, and it still is coming with challenges, but there's a few things that they have worked through that they want to share with our community. So our social workers will be hosting 2 parent education sessions to discuss how you can apply for and obtain different community resources. Our behavior support teachers have been very critical during this time. We're offering, again, a parent education on some of those sort of blanket strategies that should help students engage in their virtual instruction. But within the first 2 weeks of school, our behavior support teachers are also meeting with the families on their caseload to talk about specific behavioral barriers to their students' virtual instruction. Finally, also in collaboration with many departments in the Office of Special Ed, we're going to be offering some alternative learner outcome curriculum support hours to support all of our ALO teachers. This is all, not all, but much of this information is new to our teachers and our paraeducators, and we wanted to give them a forum in which they can ask questions and obtain support so that they can engage the greatest number of students.
Great. Thank you. Board members? Before I go to the community questions? No?
No question.
Okay. So I did have a question from one of our teachers about whether or not we are able to share the autism teacher trainings with other AOL programs, such as the FCB and LFI programs and things like that, and how we're supporting those programs as well.
We have opened those trainings to all teachers of students with pursuing alternate learning outcomes.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. And then I did also have a question about how we are, this is me personally asking, how are we going to be measuring, and this really goes for all of the programs, so maybe I should be waiting till the end, but how are we going to be collecting data on these things and measuring success for these programs and whatnot?
We have a committee that's working currently on expanding our data collection and assessment to select a number of data points, including return to school after a few weeks, Most of our students have data from March of 2020 that we would be looking at as a baseline comparison. So data for our population really is data against IEP goals and objectives, and we're ready and prepared to do that.
Okay. And if we do, and then I assume it starts with the case manager in terms of making sure that if we find that children aren't being successful, to who reaches out and takes the initiative, or are we waiting for the parents to reach out to you all to say there's a problem?
So I think that we are all envisioning and understanding the role of the case manager to continue to be the role of the case manager. So as a teacher, I take my data, I evaluate it, I know whether or not a student is making progress or has regressed. If I need additional resources to support me in changing that trajectory, there are a number of people in the Department of Special Education that I could contact depending on what program I worked in and represented. So I don't believe the role of a teacher is going to change. We are relying a little bit more on parent report, but I believe that with more live instruction and an extended instructional day, we'll have a much better view of where our students are.
Great. I know Ms. Silvestre has a question, if we can go ahead and jump to that.
Yeah, you mentioned all the communication that's going to go out to families within the first 2 weeks of the school year. Just wondering about our parents that are English speakers of other languages themselves. Do they get those communications in their preferred language, or how do you access the language line, or what are your tools to communicate with them?
The parent letter that we have has been translated, so we're providing the parent letter to schools, and it has some general language that has been translated into Spanish. So we have a Spanish version that would need to be modified, including the information that the case manager is going to put in there. But essentially, that initial contact is designed to set the stage for what would be a conversation later about the distance learning plan. And if there needed to be translation during that conversation, which would be more in depth, we would expect schools to use the language line or the other resources that they have available for translation. But we did provide them with the template language for the initial letter in both English and Spanish.
Thank you.
Thank you. I also, I have over the course of the last month or so, in getting feedback from teachers and families, I did want to put out there that there's a need for tech support in Spanish as well, and probably other languages also, but that is just something that that I wanted to make sure was out there for people to keep in the back of their mind. I know Ms. Silvestre has to sign off, so we want to thank you very much for being here, and we will continue on, but thank you for your questions and for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one last question, I think, from this area, from a question from the community. And it's in reference to the mandating of the use of Canvas for all schools. There are concerns that the Canvas platform does not provide the most accessible avenue for learning, especially for schools such as Longview and Stephen Knowles, where a one-size-fits-all approach does not work. And if you could just speak briefly to Canvas, what it is, how we chose it, and concerns, address a concern. And I'm not sure who that would be, actually. It might be
Bill, because Bill's been working with the technology office to make sure that all of the supports that we're providing in curriculum is accessible for all students.
Okay.
So, Bill, if you can answer that question.
So in terms of the use of Canvas, Canvas was selected as one of the main portal that we're delivering content for a variety of reasons related to student safety, but also some benefits of student interaction and tracking participation. And the accessibility piece is something which we've been very closely involved with our assistive technology teams, as well as deaf and hard of hearing and low vision and Susan Russell's programs to make sure that when content is delivered, it's as accessible as possible. When we look at some of our students with more significant needs, such as Stephen Knowles, for example, some of the enhancements that we purchased with the subscription, such as Nearpod that was mentioned earlier, those are things that now give us an opportunity to do more accessible checks for understanding that would work with that platform, and all the things that we've purchased in terms of the subscriptions and with the additional equipment and interfaces, they've been tested to work in that platform. So I think the goal is that while that may be our one platform that we're using, that we're trying to give teachers as many options as possible. So in fact, it is most certainly not one size fits all, and we can individualize more precisely to each learner.
Okay, great. Thank you. You can continue.
Great. Now I'd like to introduce Simone Guinness. She's our supervisor for transition services. And I know there's been many questions, Ms. Mondrowski, about transition services and what we're going to do to help prepare our high school students to be ready to go to college. And so I know Simone and her folks have been working extremely hard to make sure that we're able to continue to provide these services in a distance learning format. So Simone?
Thank you, Kevin, and good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. So as Kevin stated, yes, we are really working hard to look to make sure that our students are prepared for life after high school. And so one of the first things I want to start with this evening is the fact that this summer we did a targeted effort of concentrating on our first-time ninth grade students, which are our students who were just leaving eighth grade during the pandemic and having to make the biggest transition of their school career, or at least in their secondary portion of their school career. And so we offered a camp to all students, a 1-week camp to all students who are pursuing a diploma and receiving special education services. And it was amazing. We had over 400 students who participated. It was a completely online platform. We had 100% of the students who said that they would recommend it to other ninth graders who are entering high school for the first time. It was a very laborious effort, but it was an effort of love and worthwhile. These ninth graders are entering into high school with a clear understanding as to high school beyond academics and how they can maximize the most of their high school careers. Then we also want to continue to support our students through their high school experience. And we wanted to also target our students as they're preparing to move on to post-school outcomes. So we started in the spring with senior meetings to make sure that our seniors had everything that they need as they prepare to exit. And also for our students who pursue developmental disabilities administration's services, and we call them the transitioning youth students. We made sure that we had exit meetings with them along with our community partners at DDA and the coordinators of community service. We are going to continue in that effort to support our families, our students, and our school teams with making sure that our families have all the information that they need. To your point, Kevin, how are we going to prepare our students where we know transition comes to life in the high school and a lot of things happen in the community? We've been working to secure alternate work-based learning experiences through an online platform, such as virtual job shadowing. We secured also attainment curricular resources for our ALO populations. For example, a completely online platform, Computers at Work, Dollars and Cents. These are things that relate to transition-related preparatory skills that they need for adulthood. In addition, we also bought the pre-ed school-to-home solutions that will allow our teachers to support our students in an online environment while working on topics such as self-advocacy, pre-employment readiness, what problem solving in the workplace. So we recognize that it's really hard to replace those hands-on learning experiences at an actual community job site, but we are doing our best to replace that with experiences that our students will not lose any time while in a virtual environment, and that when they do return to the community, they can hopefully have a smooth transition there. We are going to continue to do a lift with our parent community, especially for those parents who are getting ready to enter the world of adult services. So we have about 141 students who are scheduled to exit MCPS at age 21 and go into the adult world. And we decided to hold off on our traditional in-person fair due to guidance around the pandemic. Therefore, we are going to have a virtual platform with those families on October 28th, coming up in about 6 weeks. And then for our transitioning youth again, that will be coming up next year, as well as those getting ready to leave this year. We will have another meeting on May 13th. And also, parents will continue to receive quarterly newsletters from us, email resources. We've updated our website. We also continue to send, well, we didn't do that in the summer, but we will resume sending parents timely information about what services are available and how to access resources in Montgomery County. We will continue with our transition information for parents and students called TIPS around college night, guardianship, financial planning, DOORS, which is the Division of Rehabilitation Services. Many of our youth access those services through PREETs while they're in school, and then we refer them out to DOORS for vocational rehabilitation services if they meet the criteria that DOORS has set for them to be eligible for services. And then we're also going to have, I can't see it there. I have to, one moment. Can't get that. But then we're also doing targeted professional learning for school teams. We're making sure that we're preparing school teams to understand that transition is not done in isolation or in a silo, that it's every person that touches that child is responsible for the transition, implementation of that transition plan. So we are going to continue to work with paraeducators. We typically do job coaching, how to collect data, how to travel safely in the community, travel training, also helping them to understand their role in the secondary transition process. And we will continue to identify professional learning needs based on data that we collect in ongoing internal audits as it relates to secondary transition planning and their implementation. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Daka, did you have any questions on this section? You're on mute.
I have trouble with my cursor. It goes everywhere. But I don't have any questions, but thank you for the presentation. But I do want to mention Margaret Meisner. Margaret Meisner was the first person to put the transition unit together for the students who were 21 and going out in the world. She also provided programs to have equity for disabled students and learning disabled students and students that were in our programs. She also was the first to tell us about learning disabled students who were gifted and talented. So there are many other things that she's done. She just recently died, and she was 98 years old when she died, but she continued to be involved in the school system. So just a tribute to Margaret.
Very much appreciated.
Dr. Daka, for that information.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Daka. So I'm going to pull in a question from the community. How is MCPS planning on this is a four-parter, but meeting the upper level LFI students' needs for direct hands-on support of training for jobs and independence for life goals this year? 2, what is the current thought for graduation for rising 2021 seniors in these programs? 3, what is going to occur for CBI instruction and field trips? And last, how can Zoom instruction be adequate for these students? And I can repeat any part of it, or if you just want to speak to it, overall, big picture.
Yeah. I think I can hit the first two. And the first one I mentioned in my initial presentation. Right. And we recognize that it is difficult to replace that hands-on in the job workplace experience. However, we have researched programs that we feel will meet the needs of our students, as well as my team has worked hard to develop work-based lessons that ALO teachers can use with their students to reinforce some of those job skills that they need. And while we recognize that being in the workplace is important, however, there are alternate ways for us to reach them. Like I said, the ALO students will not get, the LFI students, some of them will have access to the virtual job shadowing. So for example, we have a community of students who are age 18 and older, and they have served 4 years in high school, and they're in the Community Careers Connections and the Transition Training for Independence programs. We are actually working with them to make sure that they have that online platform that has direct links to Indeed, to colleges, and will allow them to navigate a variety of career clusters of interest, help them to access interest inventories directly, and it gives the teachers a platform for them to work with. We are going to be doing a series of trainings tomorrow with our partners at Attainment for the ALO teachers on the materials that I've mentioned, which is the pre-EDS school-to-home solutions. And while there are some curricular resources that we've used in the past, Attainment has worked to make them viable on an online learning environment. And so they're going to come out and they're going to be training our teachers how to use those resources. We have kits so that for families who are struggling with the online environment, that we will be able to send home kits where they would have access to the materials with paper, pencil models, but they could still follow along on the Zoom platform when they're receiving the instruction. The other way that, like I said, for some of our more involved students, we have created a series of work-based learning activities that might be using our picture symbols, what we call PCS. And then we are also working to support families around what are some strategies that they can be using at home to reinforce, transition isn't just about work, especially for the LFI, the SCB, and even those communities of the students that are more involved. We have to make sure that they're able to have activities of daily living. We in the spring, we sent home information. Again, we will continue to provide families with linkages. Some of our community partners do actual videos about, healthy living. What are some fitness activities that they can use? But nonetheless, we are going to continue. The Transition Services Unit will continue to support the ALO teachers around supporting students. We do recognize, I do want to make it clear though, that while some students may be in the community while we were in brick and mortar settings, 2-3 hours, maybe 4 hours, there's no way that we can substitute 4 hours worth of alternate online work without losing their attention. But we are making sure that we are focusing in on those key areas that students need. So we're providing teachers with a variety of resources. We're not specifically telling them what they need to do, but we will consult with them and help them choose and select the resources that will match the individual needs of their students. I believe the second question you had, second part of the question was, what are we doing for our students as they're getting ready to prepare to leave high school? Yes. So yes, so this year we are, I want to go back a little bit. Typically, when we do our transitioning youth fairs, it's usually the spring before students leave high school, and that's for our students who are planning to receive Maryland Certificate of Program Completion. And then we usually work with them and we have just exit meetings. But this year, we actually brought DDA back to the TY20 families so that they knew what to expect as they were navigating the adult services world. Because at that point, once they exit MCPS, we're no longer helping, we no longer remain on that bridge. We pass the baton over to the adult services coordinators of community service representatives. So this year, we're going to offer a fall meeting. We're going to offer a spring meeting for our seniors that are going to be graduating and going on to the world of work, the military, or to college. We're going to begin early with them. We're going to start meeting with them. We're going to have senior check-ins and meetings in December, then again in March, and then again in June, because we want to make sure that even though they have a goal, we want to make sure that they're on track, checking in to make sure they're on track to execute that plan after graduation. I'm trying to think about the third part. I think the third part, can you repeat the third part for me?
Yeah, I'll summarize it together. It was like Zoom instruction being adequate for these students, and field trips and things like that, with them not being able to do that. And I feel like you've sort of touched on it a lot, other than the specifics of the field trips, which I'm assuming something you're working on.
I do want to add one thing to that. One thing that we are working on, we've partnered for the last 2 years. We've partnered with Booz Allen to do a field trip for students with disabilities who are interested in pursuing college programming in STEM fields. And so this year, we've already started planning during this summer to offer a virtual field trip. We're partnering with Booz Allen, Fairfax County, as well as Fairfax. And there's one other school system in Virginia. I can't recall the name right now, but we do recognize MCPS has created a virtual field trip permission form, so that we can handle it. But we do recognize that, I cannot sit here and say to you that it's going to replace everything that they will experience, but we at least can make sure that they are given an opportunity to continue to receive information, content, and practical experiences, even if it's informational, while we're in this virtual learning environment.
Great. I appreciate that very much. I just had one quick question, and then I'll let Mr. Lowndes go on. But you mentioned training multiple times, and I'm going to ask it at the end in the broader picture. But specifically for this, are these mandatory trainings versus voluntary trainings? And are we also offering trainings for the parents at all? I think you touched on it, but I just want to make it very clear.
So I'm going to frame it in terms of transition. And I think the question can have a larger context to the overall special education services from Montgomery County.
Yes, so I'm going to be.
I'm going to put out there that this is through the lens of transition.
Okay.
And so this year, all of our trainings were voluntary. We did not make them mandatory. The only mandatory trainings are for our transition support teachers. Every comprehensive high school has a dedicated staff person for transition. And we have because we're in a virtual environment, we are meeting with them monthly. We had mandatory meetings this week when they came back to make sure that they're aware as to how do we navigate the virtual platform and make sure that we still continue to provide high quality transition services to students, to their parents, as well as the other members of their school teams, to help them to understand and recognize that we're in this together. Transition doesn't just happen within the construct of a school building. It also happens very much in the community setting. And we have many community partners that we have to continue to engage even during the time of pandemic, but just more on a virtual platform. So, one of the things that we've done is we've tried to move to some more, I think Montgomery County Public Schools in general, we've done a great job of providing a robust variety of professional learning, but we've also made sure that it was recorded so that people can go back and look at it. We did not record the transition trainings we did thus far this year, but we do have, how should I say, online training programs for some of our general education partners, so that they can learn more about transition and how they can support the transition process.
Great. Thank you so much. We really are all in this together, and I think it's important for our families to understand that we do feel that way. So we're doing everything that we can.
Yeah.
Mr. Dons, if you want to continue on.
And I would just, highlight what Simone said, is that each high school has a transition teacher that is there to help support our students receiving special education services and transitioning on. So I would just highly encourage parents to reach out to your high school's transition teacher and discuss the transition plan in moving forward. At this time, I'd like to introduce...
Oh, I was going to say, if they visit the Transition Services website, we will be placing the updated contact information for the transition support teachers at each high school.
Perfect. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to introduce Sandy Posner, our supervisor of our Social Emotional Special Education Services program. Sandy?
Hi, good evening. It's great to be here. Do we have the PowerPoint? Hi. So it's great to be here this evening, and we are looking forward to greeting our students on Monday and working much more closely with our families during this really difficult time. I wanted to just highlight a couple of things. I know there are several more of my colleagues that still need to present, so I'm just going to highlight a few things. Our behavior support teachers, psychologists, and social workers are supporting the social, emotional, and behavioral needs of our students. And they are working alongside with the special educators and the para-educators to try and help with creative interventions and strategies during this virtual learning. We are providing direct social skills instruction virtually. That will happen in a group setting. Teachers will be doing direct social skills instruction, for example, using the zones of regulation. And oftentimes our social workers and psychologists will join the teacher in that virtual classroom and support that social skills instruction. In addition, one important thing that's going to be more intense with this virtual world is that our social workers and psychologists are going to be working individually with parents to help them to implement the strategies that their children are learning through the social skills instruction they are getting in school, so that parents can have some strategies to put in place at home. Our check-ins with students are going to be provided by many different team members. We are planning on 3 parent coffees or support or information meetings at each of the 25 sites. These information sessions will be individualized because we often have parent coffees when we're in brick and mortar, and we like to bring our parents together so that they have an opportunity to share the issues that they are dealing with and get support from each other. Our social workers and psychologists are collaborating on developing some workshops that could be used by all of the different programs, but for the most part, we're going to be individualizing these parent coffees for our parents in each school. Our social workers have been working tirelessly this summer on coordinating with outside service providers, and of course they will continue to do that and support parents with finding outside community supports, and very importantly, coordinating with our students that have outside therapy so that we can make sure we're meeting the needs of our students during this time. And the last piece is that we are providing professional development through our weekly team meetings with our SESES and Bridge staff, and trying to share the virtual strategies that are working so that our staff are talking across the system and getting help from each other and support from each other. So we're looking forward to starting school next week, and thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I think that I mentioned this at the board meeting the other night. I think that the opportunity for parents to be able to connect with each other is going to be very, very important for all of our families as well. So I really appreciate the fact that you're focusing on that as well as the needs of our students. So thank you. Mr. Lowndes? Dr. Jaka, did you have anything?
Now I'd like to introduce Susan Russell. She's our supervisor of deaf and hard of hearing in our vision programs.
Thank you, and it's good to be with everybody tonight. One of the advantages of going a little bit later is, a lot of what has been shared is I would echo as well. I wanted to also start back in the summer. I thought our ESY was a great transition from continuity of learning into a longer school day. And in addition to the fun guest speakers or virtual field trips, I think one of the benefits was sharing positive strategies amongst staff and really looking at the lessons learned from the instructional program for ESY and carrying that over into the school year. Over the summer, our staff developed and presented a variety of professional development, including working with students with cortical vision impairment, and also adaptations for the Eureka Math curriculum for our youngest students with vision impairments. We also offered sessions including sign language for teachers and also including basic signs in a multimodal communication approach for students who have more complex communication needs. We continue to provide office hours, a drop-in for all of our DHOH and vision staff to provide instructional and technology support, and we'll continue to provide ongoing professional development for all of our DHOH and vision staff, including teachers and paraeducators in topics such as setting up breakout rooms in Zoom, sharing screens, and any adaptations necessary for the new curriculum. We continue to provide outreach to schools and families to ensure that all of our students are able to attend to the online instruction and get the materials that they need. Our school psychologist has been working with the school's wellness teams and also providing social emotional learning supports to groups of students. We're planning targeted training for our youngest families in sign language and cute speech using self-paced materials and face-to-face support, and also providing modules for parents who have young children who are blind to become familiar with Braille. Very similar to what others have talked about, particularly Bill McGrath, we've ordered and distributed highly specialized technology and accessible materials and resources for our vision students, including our Braille users from preschool through high school, our Braille technology, specialized printers, talking graphing calculators, and all the specially formatted and adapted curriculum materials have been distributed to the teachers, students, and families. Other technologies for some of our low vision students might include CCTVs and other tactile materials. And we've been working directly with our families to pick up materials at a safe distance from the vision office based at English Manor. So they would be all ready for school starting on Monday. Accessibility, as others have talked about, has been a focus for all of us. And so in addition to the technology I described for vision, deaf and hard of hearing students are supported on a case-by-case basis, depending on their needs. Our broad efforts have included ensuring that sign language interpreters and cute speech transliterators are able to be viewed in the Zoom tiles. We've been providing instructions to school staff for captioning for those students who do require that. And then our audiologists are reaching out and supporting our families and our staff to enhance auditory access through distance learning. We're working with procurement to evaluate specific PPE, such as the clear masks that will be suitable for working with our deaf and hard of hearing students. And then we've continued to collaborate with all of our partners in all MCPS offices, curriculum offices, technology, and the great staff in the print shop and mailroom, all of whom have facilitated our efforts. We've also been benchmarking with our colleagues around the state and with our specialists up at MSDE. So like I think everybody has said, we have great ideas, and I think we have to continue to evaluate and reassess and be willing to adjust for students as we move forward.
Thank you so much. You really all have done a tremendous job of supporting our families this way. So unless Dr. Daka has a question about this area specifically, she does not. I would like to take a step back a minute with Ms. Sandy Posner and ask a couple of questions that I should have thrown in there before. There are a lot of questions that I feel they're slightly different, but can kind of be summarized. I'm going to read one part from that someone that wrote in from the community, because I feel like this really touches on a broad range of parents and their feelings and their concerns. So this person writes, "My child is unable/unwilling to access the virtual curriculum. They have major mood swings and behavioral challenges when we try to do anything virtually. I have tried several times to help, and it always ends up with the whole day being a disaster. What kind of help is there for my child? My husband and I both work, and it seems like the most we can do is just help them get through the daily living functions and some exercise." Sounds like what I would have written years ago. So, like I said, there are a lot of questions that we get from parents that kind of ask similar type of things, though maybe not specifically that. But if we could just touch on that, I don't know if it's too general of a question, but I feel like your section was a good way of coming in. There are a lot of parents that I've heard from where their students have ADHD or autism spectrum issues, and their concerns about the fact that they cannot get their child to do the virtual program. And if they're not in person learning and they don't qualify for a discrete program that might get moved into a building, how are we going to support their children? So if we could just speak to that.
Well, and yeah, that's a really great question. And I think that one of the differences with the fall recovery program is that this is a much more proactive and strategic plan that we have. In the spring, we were all kind of thrown into a crisis situation. And I think that there were a lot of lessons learned during that time. And I can speak for my staff, and, you know, we're working with students with significant anxiety issues, anger issues, frustration tolerance, all of the things that the ADHD. And I think that what the planning that has gone into this summer and the way that the schedules are going to be structured, and the fact that we're really looking this year at our IDLPs are looking at, we want to implement this IEP to the total extent that we can. And so I just feel that there's a lot more structures that are going to be in place. And I think that some of the teachers from my programs that we connected with, who were doing really creative things and finding new ways to reach their kids, had a lot of success with that. Not with every kid. And I think that one of our worries and our challenges is, how are we going to get our kids to attend and join? We're doing a lot of individualized check-ins in our programs. I can tell you that much. I can share an example. We have some students that need individual counseling, and they probably need more of it during this time, but they won't come on Zoom. They will not, for whatever reason, they're not. But what some of the socials workers found is that if they could talk to the students by phone, they were able to get more done. So they were trying to be really creative in how we're getting through the students. I mean, it's not a really, Ms. Fondacia, totally, it's a gray answer, because I think we're all learning. But what we have learned is that the strategies and interventions that our social workers and psychologists implement, and the fact that there might need to be more safe, socially distanced home visits, yep, to kind of check in and have that face, see somebody that you know, those kinds of things. So I hope that we will be able to do more of that and have more success.
Me too. I really appreciate that so much. And for our families who are listening, if you feel that you are struggling, who would you recommend they reach out to? Would it be the principal first, or would they try to reach out to their school counselor, their social worker, or their case manager?
So I know you're asking, I mean, I answered for SES, but there are many children out in general ed who are at risk. So you're also talking about these students as well. So I think, you know, the presentation by the other night on at the board meeting, just with regard to the additional social emotional supports that are being put in place, I think that I don't know the exact kind of hierarchy in the general ed building, but I know that there are going to be more people of a mental health support kind of focus out of Rochelle Rubin's plans. So I'll answer for my programs. I mean, I think that parents can reach out to their social worker, the behavior support teacher, their case manager, certainly myself and my instructional specialist, Lisa Cordy, are supporting our teams and parents as well. So
thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Great answer. Okay, and I will go back to you, Mr. Lowndes.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Mondrowski. One of the things, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said they should really reach out to their counselor and their principals first. And one of the things that we're doing is we're providing some consult to families during this time period. We realized in the spring that many parents really needed the advice and the support from our staff members' expertise as much as our students did. So we started providing a consult service, and so principals really can reach out to Phil Lynch if it's a student that's in kindergarten through 21, and then he knows who to reach out within his organization to make sure that those folks are assigned to the parents to help and support them. And the principals can reach out to Amy Kropp if it's a pre-K situation, and then she'll work with Faith and make sure that the right person's assigned to support that family. So the families need to realize there's a lot of help and support, and they can always start by reaching out to the schools, and then the schools know who they can reach out to.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And of course, they can always reach out to us board members, especially special populations committee members. But I appreciate the clarification on resources for our families. So thank you.
So now I'm going to introduce Faith, and Faith is in charge of our supervisor, who's in charge of our pre-K programs and our infants and toddlers.
Great.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I do supervise early childhood disabilities and Child Find, and so Mrs. Kropp already spoke about Child Find and the developmental evaluation services for children, the assessment team, and she also briefly touched on the preschool education program, or she talked about preschool or pre-kindergarten special education. PEP is always the one that is mentioned because it truly is the largest, but we do have other pre-kindergarten programs with special education. So I can answer questions later on about any of those, but I'm specifically going to talk about the Montgomery County Infants and Toddlers program. These are our youngest learners. These are our birth to 3, and sometimes we do have some 4-year-olds. This is really the program where it's a dual agency. So the lead agency is the Department of Health and Human Services, and we provide all the providers, and they are the lead agency. So it really is a significant collaboration between the two agencies to make sure that we are meeting the needs of families. This is a family coaching model. So we don't expect children that are 6 months of age to be doing therapies with us. So we really are coaching the families on how to engage their child, how to work with their child, and it's really based on the family outcomes, the family needs. We are doing virtual assessments. I will tell you that it was a fairly easy transition for us because we already do family coaching. So the only difference is we're not going into the homes to do the actual assessments. We're doing it through the virtual means. So that part was different. But in terms of what we do with families, that remained the same. We are coaching virtually instead of in person. They have developed some very creative ways to demonstrate things to families so that they can model. So we model, and then they can follow and work with their children. We're doing a lot of parent training and parent development in terms of language-based programs as well as social emotional. Hannon, there's 2 programs that we do and offer. It's a very time-consuming program, and parents need to commit to doing that, but we do offer it. We have Hannon, It Takes 2 to Talk, and Hannon More Than Words. And it's very successful, and any parents that are listening that have participated in that program often talk about how much they learn to work with their children. The pyramid model is based on the social emotional foundations for early learning, and we provide trainings to staff, but then we also have parent trainings as well. We do a younger model, so that the birth to 3, and then we have the preschool model, and we often have parents that want to do a little bit of both because they have kids that go in both areas. They're not quite 3 and they're over 3, but we work with them as well. One of the things through DHHS is the Family Involvement Center. We have 2 of them, one in Rockville and one in the Emory Grove Center. This, again, works a lot with our families that are in infants and toddlers, but it welcomes children from the neighborhoods to participate. And one thing that we started this summer was virtual play dates, and they have been extremely popular and fun. And it's a 45-minute session divided into different times, but the kids get so excited to see one another, and they're waving hi. And in one case, we had 5 kids on a couch at once. It was the same family, so they could be there together. But it was very exciting to see that there is a nice way to engage children. And it's really reliant on us to help to do that, to have the excitement to do things like that. As part of the Family Involvement Center and the virtual play dates, we did that part for the children. And then later on in the afternoon, when children may have been napping, we offered what we called a coffee. And so we had our social workers and our psychologists available for the families, for the parents, to just connect with one another, to ask a variety of questions, to really, it was really about connecting, because everybody's really missing that piece, and that worked very well. And then the last part with infants and toddlers, I could go on forever about all of the pre-K programs and the programs for infants and toddlers, but we do offer community groups as well. So just like Simone was talking about how we can't go into the community, what can we do to bring the community to them? So we do offer, it's similar to virtual play dates. We do it in various languages because we are aware that there are many families that don't speak English. So we have translators, interpreters available, and we do a variety of activities to promote social emotional learning, to promote the engagement of language and communication, and just in some of those pre-learning skills. So it's a great collaboration that we continue doing. The only other thing I just wanted to say, and not about infants and toddlers, is about the PEP program. We not only have teachers available, but we have parent educators assigned to each and every one of our sites. They may not be full-time at each site because it depends on how many classes are there, but they are there to help support the families and connect them to resources, as well as it's another liaison that families can touch base with if it happens to be during the learning time, or they can't, for whatever reason, meet with that teacher. There's another person in the building that they can meet with. So they kind of share the responsibilities. They take on a lot of the case management and a lot of the paperwork off of the actual teachers, so that teachers can concentrate on teaching. So, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that presentation. That was great. You answered, we had a question from the community about case management, time and support. And so I appreciate you mentioning that, because I know it's a lot for our teachers and our support staff and everything to do by themselves. So it's good to know that we are focusing on that and keeping that all in mind. I will ask Dr. Daka if she has anything, but I do have some questions from the community specifically around the PEP and the early learning. Okay. Dr. Daka, did you have anything you wanted to ask first?
No, I didn't. I'm interested Well, I'm interested in the infants and toddlers, and that we'll get to see some of that, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, so one of the questions from the community, one thing I did want to mention is that in our meeting on Tuesday night, or Tuesday all day and night, they did not actually show, it occurred to me in reading these questions, the plan for PET, the schedule, I should say. So there were some questions in reference to the, if they were not having synchronous learning on Wednesday afternoons, how were we going to be providing instruction and things like that. So if we can make the schedules available for our families to be able to see, I think it would be helpful. Obviously, they're the general schedules, they're not student specific, but just so that they can get an idea of what you've put together in terms of what the afternoon and morning are going to look like.
Sure, great question. So in the recovery guidance, there is the pre-K schedule. There was one for full day and there was one for half day as well. And it did have the AM and the PM. So we are holding classes 9 to 11:15 for the morning sections if you're a half day program. And then the afternoon sessions are from 1 to 3:15. On Wednesdays, so that we don't, because we have PM sessions, we don't want the students to not have an opportunity for live instruction. We are providing on Wednesday mornings from 9 to 10, the AM session, the children that normally would come in the mornings will come from 9 to 10. And the children that would normally come in the afternoons will come from 10:15 to 11:15. So in the morning. And then the afternoon is set just like the rest of the county in terms of the different things that they'll do, whether it's, specialized instruction, the specials, dealing with, holding IEP meetings, touching base with families, etc. So this way, all children will have instruction on Wednesday as well.
Great. And this is going to be specified with PEP, but it's, I believe, qualifies for all of the early childhood things. Has MCPS been negotiating with preschool childcare providers who are located in MCPS facilities for arrangements so that children who participate in childcare and the staff will supervise and assist children who are duly enrolled in childcare and in PEP and with their virtual PEP learning?
So that's a great question. We work closely, and I work closely because I work with DHHS with the Child Care Connection and Jennifer Arnaise, and I often will get updated information from her about the child cares that are opening and where they are and the centers. And at this point, I just got an update yesterday that she shared with me, and because we do have a lot of children that are in child cares and receive itinerant preschool education program services, whether it's through OT, PT, speech, or specialized instruction. And so it's really working with those child care centers to see what they're able to do with us. They are at limited capacity in terms of number of children and staff. And so we have to work very carefully with them to see if they're available. If they are not available to provide some of those services for the children with us during the time of the day, we are recording all of our lessons so that we can specifically, let families know you have 72 hours. This is the lesson on literacy. This is it on math. This is our social emotional. And then we will continue to touch base with the family. Our staff is very dedicated and they often will touch base. We can be flexible with the timing so that we can touch base with families so that they have the supports they need to address their child's needs.
Great. And I think the last one from the sort of specifically from the community but to me it's a broader question again. It's with respect to one-on-ones. This comes from a parent who's got a child in PEP. With respect to one-on-ones and other logistical needs, how are we preparing to meet each school's additional resource needs, both in technology and in manpower? Again, to me, that's a big, broader question in special education across the board. So,
So one of the things that we look at is what does the child need if they had a critical staffing? What was the critical staffing need for? And if it's something that the child continues to need so that they can have access to what we're doing in the virtual distant learning environment, then we can provide that, but it would be provided through the virtual means. So we really need to look at it. So if it's really to sit next to a child to help engage them, that may or may not work through the virtual world. So we're working with a lot of small groups so that we can really try to engage. We're talking with staff about how to engage. Virtual learning is not new. I attended a webinar where it talked about Mr. Rogers. And, all of us grew up with Mr. Rogers, and look at what we were able to learn and gather. It was the content. It was the way that he shared information and worked with people, and he made you feel like you were in his room. And that's what we need to do to engage them. So just because they needed critical staffing in the classroom may not mean that they need critical staffing during this environment, but we hopefully when we go back to schools, we're going to keep an eye on that, and we're certainly able to provide what we need to provide for the children.
Thank you. That's a great analogy, by the way. Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers, they were good. So, yeah, I think a lot of it is really going to be about keeping them engaged, as you all know. So, thank you. Mr. Lowndes, if you want to continue, that's all of the questions specifically targeted towards PEP that I have.
Right, and I just want everyone to know that if a child does need one-on-one support, that we are continuing to offer that in the virtual environment, and that it really is an IEP decision.
Right. Okay, I appreciate you saying that out loud, because I mentioned it at one of the board meetings either earlier this week or the last previous one, and parent contacted me and they're like, I think that's what was said, but I just want to clarify. So it's just an absolute yes question. That's something that they had before. They can continue to have that through the virtual world.
Correct.
Great.
Now I'm going to introduce Pam DeFosi. She is our head of our speech language. Pam.
Hi, thank you, Kevin. It's great to be with everybody. I wanted to restate something that Susan said, which is it's nice to follow others, and that some of the things that I'd like to share are also mentioned by others, so I can just add on to that if the PowerPoint could be coming up. We also found that our ESY services were a good jumping off point and a good momentum for us to start out the school year. We had 63 speech pathologists working in ESY services, and we had over 1,700 students recommended for ESY speech services. We did our best to match the SLPs with the students that they were seeing during the year, and it was just a really important learning for us in terms of providing a large number of direct services in different ways and giving us good momentum for the year coming up. I wanted to share about the professional learning that we have provided for speech pathologists. We had 2 trainings which we did during the summer. The first one is a 3-hour self-paced training which SLPs could continue to access. It had 11 different modules of skills that they might want to develop. There were modules on group therapy strategies, modules on working with students with autism. There was a module on working on secondary students following the ALO curriculum. There were a module on using virtual resources, which we purchased for SLPs, such as Boom Cards and Edpuzzle, teaching them how to use those new interactive resources. There was a module on using Canvas. It was as an SLP. So these trainings we think were really helpful to help each SLP go from where she was to be prepared for the new school year, and are available now for staff to watch at any time or to rewatch any particular module they want to see. We also did a special training for SLPs working with preschoolers and how to keep them engaged in a virtual environment. And we also have a grant-funded training for our para-educators for our pre-K language classes coming up next week to help them use the breakout rooms effectively to support our students with their communication skills. In terms of technology supports, we purchased some extra document cameras beyond what MCPS is providing to make sure that all of our SLPs would have some. We're purchasing some licenses and subscriptions, as I mentioned, so that SLPs have access to more tools to work with students and also tools that they can share with families. Service delivery models is a really important piece of what people have questions about. How are the direct speech language services going to be provided in the upcoming school year? We're going to be providing direct services through an array of service delivery options. There'll be SLPs joining the special education classes to co-teach with the teacher, to do a language lesson for a class of students. One model that we anticipate using a lot of is the breakout rooms, where the SLP will be taking a small group of students within a classroom and going into the teacher's breakout room. We've learned from the Innovative Schools this summer that this is a really effective model because it's efficient in terms of time and moving from one group to another without a break and without the children having to log back in. So we want to take advantage of the breakout rooms whenever possible. SLPs will also be setting up small groups using their own Zoom links so that they can have children join from different classes and also possibly from different levels if they're working on the same goals and objectives. We'll have direct services that are on an individual televisit basis, working with one student or working with a student and his parent, his or her parent, and then also parent coaching televisits would be part of what we would provide as well. And as Kevin said at the beginning, SLPs will be scheduling their services throughout the student day. Let's see. I wanted to mention virtual speech language assessments. We've been doing assessments beginning in the spring in continuity of learning. In the spring, our staff used primarily informal assessments and language sampling, but we've purchased licenses for some online assessment tools, so we'll be able to use some of the tools that we're more familiar with that we use in brick and mortar. As you can imagine, it's somewhat different to use a tool this way, so we plan training for our SLPs in September to teach them how to use these tools, how to score them appropriately, how to write their assessment report to reflect that change. So that's some training we'll be providing in September. And then finally, regarding parent contact and support, mirroring what Bill McGrath said, our SLPs are reaching out to families now with an initial email or phone call if the family doesn't have email access, introducing themselves, letting the family know what their plan is for providing the direct services, and then the distance learning plan may come later with the case manager with all of the services, but the family will have that initial contact from their provider. And then later on, when they get the distance learning plan, they'll have everything that the student is receiving in terms of speech and language services. And I think then the follow-up contact for families would be for following sessions with students that the speech pathologist would be providing follow-up activities for the families to use. And of course, they would be available for family coaching and family support for individual problems that they might have regarding the students' communication challenges. So I appreciate the opportunity to share with everybody.
Thank you so much. I loved hearing about your training programs coming up. And I was going to emphasize this at the end, but I figured now's as good a time as any. We've heard a lot of concerns over the trainings and who's getting what and whatever. And listening to you talk, it occurred to me like, that sounds interesting. I wouldn't mind participating, like listening in on that or whatever. And maybe it's too much to ask or whatever, but I do think it would be really great if all of our teachers, administrators, and support staff were at least made aware of all of the trainings being offered, because for gen ed, special ed, whatever it might be, you never know what you can learn by taking an interest in something that you might not even necessarily think is what you would be signing up for. So just putting that out there. And then,
well, if I could just make a comment on that, the particular ones that I mentioned are all available through Google Links. And so this is something that we can share with others because it's available and it will remain available. So, and we can even examine the individual sessions and think what might be available for or helpful to an individual subset and then share it with that group. So I think that's definitely something feasible for us to do.
That would be great because like I know that some teachers in the special education programs have written to me about the fact that they thought that some trainings were only for like the kids with autism, or teachers for autism programs, or for, you know, this particular program or that. So that would be really great if you could do that. I love that. So thank you. So unless Dr. Daka had anything for that specific section, I will let you all go on because I know we're running way behind. So in the interest of time.
So our last speaker tonight, I know Ms. Mondrowski and Dr. Daka, you're always making sure that, you know, we mention if a parent doesn't quite understand their rights or is having a difficult time, you know, who do we have for them to reach out and give support? So I'd like to now introduce Tracy Hackett. She's a supervisor of our resolution and compliance unit who, you know, parents can reach out and get some a better understanding of what their rights are in the IEP process.
Thank you, Kevin. Good evening, everyone. I promise I will be succinct in the presentation to be respectful of everyone's time. If we can put up the last slide. So as Kevin mentioned, the role of my office is really twofold. The first purpose being the compliance aspect in our name, basically providing support to school staff and to parents when they have questions about procedural safeguards. And also to school staffs as we talk about these unprecedented times. And you've heard a lot of the presentations more focused on the instruction. So from our perspective, how we support our schools and staff members responsible for implementation of IEPs and these IDLPs is answering their questions about policies, procedures, federal and state laws, what the requirements are. So some of the things that you've heard today of Mr. Lynch and Mr. Lowndes talking about as we're transitioning into the recovery plan and we're looking at our IDLPs differently, that we are going to that full implementation to the maximum extent appropriate and possible for IEP services and providing those supports to school staff that have questions about it. We know that this looks different as we are in a virtual environment. So processes such as getting 5-day documents before and after meetings, how you do virtual meetings, compliance with timelines, as well as, you know, establishing that electronic signature process for things that need to be signed by parents. So we've done a lot around digesting the guidance from the U.S. Department of Education, as well as the Maryland State Department of Education. We want teachers to be teaching. We don't want them to be spending time on reading very long documents. So we are making sure that we're providing those professional learning opportunities that everyone has mentioned. From my office, we are partnering with staff in Mr. Lynch's office in terms of Q&A sessions available to special education staff members. I also want to mention, there was a mention of first-year teacher training. We also partner with Mr. Lynch's office as well, in addition to NEO, that we continue that process throughout the school year. The second component of what my unit does is the resolution piece. And so as Mr. Lowndes mentioned, and I think Ms. Mondrowski, you had asked that question of, you know, when parents have those questions, who do they go to? So when they have questions about their legal rights, what's the process? If there is a disagreement, we always want parents to try to go to their principal first or their case manager to see if they can resolve the issue. But when that can't be possible, that is what my office is there for, is to explain to them that big, huge packet that parents receive at every single IEP meeting, to digest that for them in a way that they can access, to answer their questions, and to explain to them the mediation, the due process, state complaint, and our informal administrative review process. We walk them through what their options are, and then they can receive that. While we are virtual, those mediations and due process are being scheduled by the Maryland Office of Administrative Hearings virtually. So if parents have any issues with accessing or have questions about how they can get on, or if they need to participate telephonically, they can ask us those questions. One of the things that we want to do is make sure that people, the parents and staff, still know that we are still here to support them. And so we have created a Dropbox that all my staff can access. You can see it on the screen. They can still call in if they're not able to access email. And if they still want to file and exercise their procedural safeguards, and they may not have the technology available to them, they can still continue to mail in any applications. The last thing that I want to mention is, like many of my colleagues that do compliance in other jurisdictions, I also have the pleasure of serving in the capacity as the district-wide Section 504 coordinator. And as we are talking about special populations, I just want to mention that for our Section 504 students, as was mentioned by Mr. Lynch with regards to the IDLPs, those students will also have IDLPs, and the expectation is that we are providing their accommodations to the maximum extent possible during virtual learning. So I just wanted to mention that because I have had some parents reach out to me of, what's happening for Section 504 students. So I wanted to mention that so that that information's out there for them.
Very much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I feel like that's the great spot for us to end at. I do have two quick questions from the community list that I thought should just be answered, but they're quick. The first one is, can a student opt out of receiving therapies, physical, occupational, SLP, vision, etc., during virtual learning? And if so, will this decision negatively impact the student's chances of regaining those therapies at the same allotted minutes or hours when school provided in-person learning resumes in-person learning again?
So I'm not sure, Mr. Lowndes, if you want me to answer that question, I can from a procedural perspective, but I also don't know if you want colleagues to weigh in from related services.
Well, you can answer from a procedural, and then I know some folks here have had that question asked to them, so I don't know if Susan or Bill want to weigh in from what the advice they're giving their folks about that.
Sure. So procedurally and legally, there's a couple of things going on that make it a little bit different as we talk about virtual instruction. So under normal circumstances, we have an obligation to present an IEP that provides a student with a free, appropriate public education, which, depending on their needs, can include those related services. So when we're in brick and mortar, generally a parent cannot pick and choose those aspects of the IEP. The reason why I say it's a little bit different is because my understanding of us as a school district is parents, as they're navigating these new waters in terms of the virtual schedule and making their children available for those services. I would say they would not be penalized for that, but our obligation is to continue to make that available to them. So although there's not a actual opt-out process, if a parent on their own making their choice for their family based upon their schedule feels that they cannot make their child available to us, there's not a penalty that is taken away. There's not something where that wouldn't continue to be offered, and it certainly would not be removed from their IEP. So on our side, we're going to continue to make that available to them.
Great. That's great. I don't know if anybody else.
Is that we've been guiding folks to document that as well. So document those conversations.
Oh, that's good advice. Very good advice. So, okay. And then the last one is, my son's home school is X, but he is going to another high school for SESES program. Can he be served at his home school? And if not, why not?
So I'll take that one. I'll go ahead and take that one, Tracy. Sorry. Great. So, we get this type of question regardless of the type of service. And, we serve students with social emotional needs in all types of settings. But if there was an IEP team decision that the student should be served in and we used this word earlier, discrete program, because the intensity of the needs that came up through the IEP conversation, we would want the student to be served where those resources are available. Earlier, you asked a question, Ms. Mondrowski, about resources, and I think that Dr. Posner did a wonderful job of talking about the resources that are available to students in that program. And really, those resources would be available through the supports that are at that location where those services are provided. We always try to serve students in the least restrictive environment, which also often means their home school. But if there was a determination through that IEP conversation that the services need to be delivered for some reason where those resources reside, then that would be the decision of the team, and we would work to make that happen. We always, are focused on trying to look at student progress and whether they can be served back in their home school, and we're open to having those conversations with folks on an individual basis.
Great, thank you. Okay, well, that's pretty much, unless Mr. Lowndes or Dr. Wilson, if you had anything else that you wanted to add, I will, or Dr. Daka, if you had anything that you wanted to, final comments? No?
Oh, no, just that this was a comprehensive presentation. And I know early on I had questions about really what was going to happen early on in the summer. And this has helped me to understand what it is that you're doing and how well you're doing it. So thank you very much.
Yeah. I want to say thank you so much. First, I want to thank all of our families who took the time to send in their questions and to tune in and listen tonight to this important meeting. I want to thank our staff so much for staying late, doing such a great job answering our questions, putting together so much information. I know that this presentation will be posted on our website for people to watch at another time. It would be great as a follow-up for my office if we could put together a frequently asked questions thing for the website based on some of this stuff, because I think a lot of these questions have been asked by a lot of people beyond just who wrote into us. And in my thanking you all for your time, I'm going to read a message that came into me a couple of minutes ago. I'm so happy that this has offered so much clarity, direction, etc. It's like a weight has been lifted. Like they have a plan and it's well developed and it just seems great. They have all these amazing supplements in place. And I mean, only time will tell how it all goes, but such amazing clarity and direction and support is truly meaningful for us at home. So thank you. It's had a huge impact already and I really appreciate it. I want to wish everyone a great start to an unprecedented first step in a new way of education and a huge step in the future of learning. And I appreciate all of your time again. So thank you very much. Have a great night, everybody. And good luck at school, everyone. Good night.